Welcome everyone to yet another episode of Atomic Blackjack. Good morning, good evening, good whatever time you are watching this. This is part 3 of our 3-part series in Seattle. Big finale. I've been corrected. Apparently this is not Seattle, this is Tacoma, but still, we're calling it Seattle. We're loving the trip. We've been having a great time. For those of you who haven't watched part 1 and 2, we definitely encourage you to go back and watch those. But for those of you who have, you know that we are around that $15,000, $16,000 mark. We have been completely undetected, and we have limited time left in our trip before our flight. So in this episode, we decided to go out there, push the bets, push the money, go for the EV, and really lock in and do all that we can to extract as much money as possible before our time is up. Okay, so I got about 36 hours left until the end of my trip, and I'm a little less than around 8,000, 9,000 till I close the bankroll. So my goal for today is just grind it out. Hopefully I can hit that number today and then just use the rest of the trip to relax out for tomorrow. But if not, still got plans and stuff to move around. So, fingers crossed for turning up for the rest of the trip. As we start our day and we go to our first destination, we hop in the car and this is the song that is playing, so we automatically know that we are in for a treat. Must be the money. While blackjack is not all high hands and true counts, that is what you all have told me in the comments that you prefer to see. So right now we are once again showing you a max bet hand. On our first hand, we have an 18 and the dealer turns over a blackjack, which is very unfortunate as we have a 20. So an 18 and a 20 are two very strong hands with max bets, but neither of which can beat a dealer blackjack. For those of you paying close attention, you may have realized that with our 20 and the dealer's blackjack, our running count has dropped by 4, which on a double deck means that our true count has dropped by at least 2. At this point, we decided to ask for change, and this casino has a special rule that you can go from 1 hand to 2 hands in the middle of a shoe. However, once you are at 2 hands, if you go down to 1 hand, you cannot return back up to 2 hands. As it's still early on in the shoe, we decided that it is better for us to go ahead and place 2 hands of 175 rather than go down to 1 hand. And on this first hand, we have a 6 versus a dealer's 10. I know the footage is a little iffy, so we apologize. But when we have a 10 for 16, we stand. And on our second hand, we have a 20 and we stay. Dealer flips over a 2 and then a 7 for a total of 19. Again, I know it's hard to see, but you have to just trust me on that one. So we do win on our 20, but we do lose on our 16, making the overall round and the overall hand a push. Once again, our running count is dropped by at least 2 due to our hand of 20, and that means our true count has dropped by at least 1. At this point, we decide to go to 2 hands of $100. Again, it's still early. We still have faith that the count will jump up. We have a 12 versus a dealer's 10. We bust out. On our second hand, we have a soft 17. After 2 hits and turned into an 18, and the dealer's few cards you can't quite really see, just know that we win our second hand, and again, make it to a total of a push on the round. Once again, the count has risen ever so slightly. So once again, back goes out the 2 hands of 175. And unfortunately, once again, we have a 12. But this time it's against the dealer's 3, so we stand. And our 13 versus the dealer's 3, we also stand. Unfortunately, the dealer proceeds to pull a 10 and a 5 for 18, beating both of our lower hands. But as the count goes back up, we go to 2 hands of $500 once again. And it's just in the nick of time, because with this 14 versus the dealer's 6, we stand, and that's 2 hands of 14, and what do you know? The dealer busts. Now the next big hand that we have for you all is of course us splitting tens. In the middle of this hand, you can see that we have our max bet of $500 out there. We had a pair of tens that we split 4 times against the dealer's 4, and we received a 16, a 14, and 2 20s. On our second hand, we receive a soft 13 versus the dealer's 4. This is traditionally a hit, but at a count a true 3 or more, this is a double according to deviations. Now with the dealer's 4, they scare us when they turn over a 5, but they proceed to burn a 3 and a 10 to bust, allowing us to win. For those wondering, that is a 3K win in the positive, and as you just seen, the guy next to us was just as excited, if not more excited for us than anything.
Feel my heart beating out my chest. Now I gotta run.
So after that hand, the shoe was over, and rather than go back down to table minimum, especially as they were getting ready to change the cards, we decided that this would be a great time to go ahead and call it, so we color up and hightail it out of there. And of course, if you were wondering how I was feeling, both inside and out, here's a clip. We did take a little bit of a break and go out and explore the city. We'll save that footage for you all at the end. But without a doubt, here we are back at the tables with a max bet of $500. Here we have a soft 19 versus the dealer's 5. Traditionally, this is a stand, but at a true 1 or higher, you would deviate and double. So we double that, and on our second hand, we have a 16. Unfortunately for us, the dealer does make a hand of 19, so we lose our first hand and the second hand. While this is unfortunately a $1,500 loss, it was the correct play, and we would do it every single time. Of course, the count's still up there, the bets stay out, and on this first hand, we get a 7 and a 9 for a total of 16. We have it against the dealer's 10, so we quickly surrender that. And on our second hand, we have a 17, which we stand on. Unfortunately for us, the dealer pulls a 5 and then a 3 for 18, having just one more to beat us. Losing $500 on that hand and $250 on the second, that is a total of minus $750. A little bit later, the count goes back up, so out go the 2 hands of $500. On our first hand, we have a 10 versus the dealer's 3. Y'all know what we do here. We split them up. Traditionally, this is a stand. However, at a count of true 8 or higher, we would go ahead and split them. We end up splitting them into a total of 4 hands. I know you can't fully see them. We apologize. But as you will see a little bit later, we have a 17, a 19, a 20, and then a 21. All in all, these are pretty solid hands against a dealer's plus card. On our second hand, we have a 21, which is an automatic winner, and paying at 3-2, that is an easy net profit of $750 on that hand alone. Now, as we go ahead and bag some money, the dealer turns over their whole card for 10, followed by a 7 for 20. This is unfortunate, as this means that we have won one hand, pushed the other, and lost 2. For anyone wondering and or keeping track of the math, that is a total of $250 profit on the round. Of course, the count is still up there, the bets stay out there, and on this first go round, we get a 7 versus a dealer's 7. We hit for 17 and stand, and then on our second hand, we have a 20, which we stay on. The dealer pulls an ace, so we win one hand and lose the other, ultimately pushing the round. Once again, count still up there, bet still out. Now this is going to be the last hand of the shoe, and for us it's pretty good as we have a 20 versus the dealer's 5. This, just like splitting, would be a double or a deviation at a true 5. We double that, and on our second hand we have a pair of 10s. At this point, the money's there, the aggression's there, and what do you know, we split them up. The count was dropping because we received 2 20s and we stay on both of those. The dealer then pulls a 10 and a 9, a 10 and an 8 for busting out with 23. That right there is a total of $2,000 netted profit. Well, just got the boot, and sure enough, as told, they do trespass upon first offense. So, it looks like that may be the end of my time for this casino in Seattle, Washington. Maybe the end of my time in Washington altogether, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and just call it on this trip. But long story short, it was a winner, baby. As you just heard, we were kicked out of this casino. They went straight to a trespass rather than a back off. And rather than go around and go to the different casinos, as we figured they may have fired us, we decided to just go out and basically just vacation and enjoy the city, enjoy the town, enjoy the sights, and just relax for the rest of the trip. But without further ado, let's get into what everyone's been waiting for, the graph. So as you can see, on this trip, we were at the tables for roughly 20 hours, and in those 20 hours, we made just under $29,000. This turned out to be roughly $1,465 per hour. Now, all sessions do not go like this, as you can tell, because our expected value, or EV, was at about $7,500, which means we made over $20,000 more than we were mathematically supposed to. This is always a benefit and we'll never complain, but part of that is due to some of our winning sessions. As you can see, our top 3 winning sessions are a little over $7,000. We have one that is around $5,000, almost $6,000, and then one that is over $4,000. These right here is what makes it to where we are winning and dominating the table how we are. Now, of course, not every time you play is going to win. I would show you our top 3 losing sessions. However, we only had 2. Of those 2, one of our losing sessions was a little over $13,000 in the negative, and the other one was around $900. So in total, our 2 losing sessions that we had amounted to just about $2,000, a little over. All in all, this was a great trip and a phenomenal experience. We really enjoyed it. We got to see some wonderful sights and some wonderful experiences, and we met a lot of great people. So if you ever get the opportunity, definitely go out there, but do not limit yourself to the tables. As you will see right after this, we have some bonus footage showing you all some of the sights that we've seen and some of the food that we ate. And if you get the opportunity to, definitely go out there and explore the city. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Once again, I would like to thank you all for going ahead and joining and watching. It really means a lot. We are nearing in 1,000 subscribers, so if you haven't already, definitely hit that subscribe button. We very much appreciate it. We're thinking about doing something big for this, maybe doing some type of giveaway. Currently, our plan is to do a giveaway for a BJA membership or some other type of training software. So let us know down in the comments what you all think we should do to celebrate and commemorate 1,000 subscribers. But without further ado, we'll see you next time.
I love it.